And welcome to another episode of Never Caught Offside with me, the host, Alex Voltaire, here again with David and Miguel for the first weekend of the Premier League season. Boys, are we excited? Are we excited?
It's back, man, after what, several months, or at least for Chelsea, it was what, three,
Uh,
4 weeks?
you know what? I definitely have to say, I think when there isn't a competition or something to watch, we're just waiting and clinging on to like a pre-season friendly. But we had the World Club Cup to watch, then we had pre-season friendlies, and now we're in. So let's be real. I don't think we went that far, or went that. Sorry, we didn't go that long without actually watching football. Because even if you didn't really care too much about the Club World Cup, you at least watched the game or watched highlights. There was something always to watch, and yeah, basically football every couple of days, which is what we like as real men. Real men. That's what we like. So we're going to kick it off straight away with the first game. Premier League champions Liverpool hosting Bournemouth, who, you know what, I don't even know what the odds were for the game. I didn't really take a look at the bookies, but I think Liverpool were the favourites, especially where Bournemouth have probably like sold half their defence, you know, let go of their lone goalkeeper and really scrambling to hold on to some of their stars. They made a tiny profit, but with Iriola in charge, I'm sure he's got some hidden gems ready to come into that team. So, like clockwork, Salah grabbed his 10th opening day goal. It's clockwork for him. It's light work. It always does. Even if some people feel he has a stinker or he's not much in the game, he still manages to pop up with a goal, which he did again. So anybody who had Salah in the FPL probably captained him for this game. Build. It was, yeah, I think it was a dead cert that he was going to score. But Liverpool did not did not have the game easy. Did not have the game easy. Um, Ekitike making his debut and scoring, and as a Liverpool fan, I was happy. You know, there's been a lot of talk surrounding his arrival and what's going to happen if Liverpool bring in Isak, but the guy's just not really cared and has gone and done his job. And in the last two competitive games, even though the Community Shield has no bearing on how the season will commence, it's actually a good way to get your account going. And he opened his account and he done it again back to back, so it's good that there's some consistency there. I thought he had a good game before he was taken off. But you know, Liverpool racing to a 2-0. I would say racing to 2-0 lead, but I think they kind of like controlled the game. Bournemouth were looking dangerous, especially Semenyo, which we'll talk about for the good and the bad of what happened with him. Um, Felt like Liverpool were there were parts where Bournemouth did look dangerous and were causing some issues. Kirkes was making his debut against his former club. Frimpong was making his debut. I think he did all right. He ended up coming off, which proved very pivotal in that game. Kirkes was a little bit rash. I think he got a little bit too excited. I don't know whether it was the occasion got to him, you know, against his former club, or maybe it was just having his debut at Anfield. He wanted to prove a point and show that he's the guy to replace Andy Robertson. He got taken off as well. And after the two substitution, this is where I feel like Liverpool kind of lost control of the game, and they're putting on Endo as a right back, and you know getting caught out in possession. We had like 8 men in their half. 8 men almost run into the box trying to get a third at 2-0 up, losing the ball, and two quick counter attacks, and they both scored. Both by Semenyo, both great finishes. And that was after he had been racially abused by a Liverpool fan. Now, I want to say something on that. I think a lot has been said, and as a fan and of a fan of Liverpool, it's disgusting that a fellow fan, well, I'm not even called a person a fan, yeah, because it's because I thought when you're a fan, you have you share the same views as people. Not always gonna be the case, but you feel like you all should be singing from the same kind of hymn book. But for someone to racially abuse somebody for what? For what? To get under the skin? I went on to score 2 goals. So whatever you did, it worked in a negative manner. And racism, we know it should never be in the game. It's 2025. How many times are we gonna say this? And if I'm being real, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. I think what needs to happen, and I think what they've done to the guy is true, is harsher punishments need to be done on these individuals. Now the guy was found, and he's been banned from attending any football matches. I think he's been banned from 10 yards of any stadium in the whole of the UK.
Even more, man. He can't go within a mile of any major footballing stadium.
Him and his
That's
wheelchair.
good. That's good.
Sorry for anybody who's disabled in a wheelchair, yeah. But you've got a struggle already, yeah. My guy has a struggle already, and he wants to like, and Semenyo's a good guy, because if that was me, I'm about to take a throw in, and you're now effing and blinded at me and calling me whatever. I don't know what he said. I haven't read if Semenyo has actually repeated what he said. But if that was me, I'm
You,
doing
you,
Eric
you did
Cantona
that cat
too.
man, yeah?
I'm doing the Eric Cantona. I'm
Yeah.
dashing the
Right,
ball at
pick,
him.
yeah.
Yeah. And I always said to him, stand up and say it to my face if you're brave enough, yeah? Or something. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't stand. Okay, again, sorry for anybody who's in the wheelchair, but I'm pushing that wheelchair over. Like I'm doing something, I'm clamping that wheelchair. Yeah, now he's crawling home from
But
whatever
but,
hole
but
he came from.
you know what, Alex? You got to remember that these black players are conditioned already. They probably faced more racism than you would imagine. So so
100%.
so so him
100.
hearing that is probably nothing new. So he's like they're conditioned from many stadiums, many football fans. So
Sometimes I
it's
feel like
different.
sometimes these things just bring out the evil in people. Like we watched the penny shootout with Spurs versus PSG. Tell miss, he got a load of racial abuse.
I, I
He wasn't the only person who missed.
But about all of that, Alex, I think the tapped thing about this whole situation is you're racially abusing a player in the other team. Cool. It's awful to do, but how are you forgetting the fact that your most significant player is of African black heritage?
That's what I'm
You have black players
saying.
on your team, like, so where are you
It don't
coming
make
from with
sense
this?
to me. So this is where I'm like, is the racism selective? Or is it a case of you are using that as a weapon? You feel like if I racially abuse this guy, it's gonna throw him off his game because you can't you can't have Etatike and Gakpo scoring goals. You're celebrating, yet you hate them. It doesn't make. I don't celebrate somebody I don't like. you know so to me it's like, well, what is it? Are you truly racist? For you to say anything racial, for that to come out your mouth, for that to be in your head, I have to say you are. But then this is a sport where what are the possibilities you're gonna have a black player playing for you, not just black, but black, Asian, any other minority playing for you? It's high. It's almost 100%.
You know what?
So
Even though you're right, Alex, like it's almost in a way tribal because some of the fans, right, they see it as just trying to get a player down, right, just trying to make sure, trying to piss the player off, any tactic to win that game. So they're gonna be racist, they're gonna throw shit, but on their own players, they're not gonna do that, right? I
mm,
just feel I'm not saying the person isn't racist, you know, outside
I'm
of the
saying he
stadium.
is.
I'm not saying they are or they're not because, but what I'm saying is that definitely in a football match, some people are racist towards the opposition, right? I don't know how they are outside of the game, but they just want their team to win. But it's not acceptable anyway. I'm not saying it is acceptable,
Yeah,
but it happens a lot. It happens a lot.
yeah.
Look at Roma. Look at Spain. In Spain, right? All the black players, they always get trouble all the time. Yeah,
All the
Monkey
time.
noises,
yeah,
chucking of
monkey noises.
bananas.
Yeah, but their own
And
fans, Real Madrid fans, they love Bellingham all of a sudden. You know what I mean? They like Bellingham
yeah,
shirts and all that.
yeah.
So yeah. Listen, I've faced it for a long time. I've watched it for a long time. I'm almost like, yeah, whatever. Nothing's gonna change. But I
Yeah,
like,
it's not necessarily like
yeah, it's not,
desensitized from it.
yeah. For me,
Yeah,
it's not really. But I like what they've done to him. They banned him in several ways. But
it's good. I'm glad.
yeah, nothing's going to change really.
But don't you think, David, like
Mm.
both of you, like probably can answer this a little bit better than myself. Don't you think that's just because of the media attention? Because I think there is a lot more that goes on that isn't really punished, and I think that's unacceptable. Like at the end of the day, just because like there's millions of people now looking at this one specific situation, it should be across the board. If there's any form of racism, whether or not it's got massive media coverage, people should get banned, and that's it. Rip up the season ticket. That's it. You're
But
not coming back.
but you know why?
Goodbye.
Because you know why? Semenyo reported it. A lot of black players, because they're so used to it, sometimes they're not even bothered to report it. They're like, whatever, you know.
Yeah,
But Semenyo
yeah,
made a point to report it. Yeah, so I think that's mostly why. Even I think it's happened a few times last season. It was reported. So if black players don't come forward, then there's not going to be anything to report, anything in the media. Yeah,
I agree with the tribal comment you said, by the way. I think this weaponizing of whatever it may be relevant to the players, but it's an easy cop out when you're talking about an ethnic minority where you'll target them for that. But you know, in the lower leagues like grassroots football, where the fans are very close to the footballers, hurling abuse, swearing at them, I
yeah,
think yes, it very much comes from that mindset. Let's get under their skin, let's go ahead and bother them. So then they're off their game. But like certain players, like let's say Rice, completely different circumstance, but people try to say you're this player, that player, you're not good, you're West Ham don't want you, and he deals with it by just looking at them and just taking the mick. Like where if he's taking a
yeah,
set piece, he won't put it on the line, and people start complaining. He laughs at them, and you know how to deal with it, but it doesn't excuse the behavior. But there is many different forms of abuse in football.
yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. Let's. I think we said enough on that, and we hope that things do change. But back to the game. Liverpool were able to get back in the game very late on. Chiesa came off the bench. The replaced Wirtz, which the
faster.
highlight, the spotlight was on him, and will be on him throughout the season. Because the money we've paid for him and seeing what he can do. We saw some touches, some flashes, but his input on the game wasn't as we thought it was going to be. I think the expectation is really high, but he didn't really make any mistakes. Yeah, but didn't impose himself in the game as we thought he would. But I think the change was made, and at one point people were like, "Where's coming off? Keita coming off? What was happening?" Chiesa came on, Jones came on, tried to shore up the midfield. Chiesa scores to make it 3-2. The forgotten Italian man singing his song, absolutely amazing. And this is why I love Liverpool fans. They've got a song for everybody. And the fact that Chiesa's song was ringing around that stadium was absolutely amazing, especially the season he's had where barely played. He had like 4 appearances last season. Almost on his way out. So much speculation between where he's going on loan, where's he going permanently. Liverpool have made some departures, so it looks like he could be staying. Apparently he wants to stay, but we're still open to a move. Hopefully gets more football this season than he did last season. And then Salah wraps it up, making it 4-2. So what did you guys think about the game? What did you think about Liverpool's performance? What did you think about Bournemouth's performance as people saying, David, they're depleted and so forth, but I still feel Bournemouth were still a good side, and they showed that they still have fight in them despite losing some key players, which helped them claim a ninth place finish last season. So yeah, give me your thoughts. What would you reckon?
Yeah, I thought they were dangerous on the counter attack. Obviously, Semenyo scored 2 goals. I just thought Semenyo exposed Konate, man.
He looked lost. He looked lost.
I remember watching Messi a long time ago expose Boateng in the Champions League,
Voltaire.
where he dropped. I thought, oh
Oh,
my God, like he just
do,
exposed him, man.
do you know? Yeah, and I'll say this. So to get off. There's a freeze frame. I don't know if you see this. A freeze frame of Semenyo run towards goal.
Mm,
Van Dijk is standing there, like looking at Kanai, like, what are you doing?
we did, yeah,
And Kanai's back is towards
yeah,
Semenyo, and I'm
yeah,
like, where are you to see where the ball is or where the guy is?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's so many people are trying to give their 2 pence on what they thought was going to happen. It was like, oh, it was so difficult because there was no DM, so it left
I
them
was gonna say
exposed.
that. I was gonna say
It
that.
was a
Yeah. I said,
four
yeah,
against two.
yeah,
He's running backwards. If he had gone and made a challenge, he could have easily passed it to the left or to the right.
mm,
But I felt like you did nothing.
yeah,
You
yeah,
actually
yeah.
did nothing.
But
And
even that, I think even that first goal with Semenyo, where Konate was, I think, further up the pitch, and that through ball cut through, and then he crossed it. I
yeah,
thought
and Endo
even
had bombed ahead,
yeah,
and obviously Kanate had to cover.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, fair enough. He's not slow, but having to chase back like that, put them on the back foot.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I felt,
what a wonderful ball switched in by Brooks, and yeah, tap in
and
for
I
Semenyo.
also felt that really exposed your need for like Gravenberch to come back, like a proper DM to hold that midfield. You know,
Yeah, he was suspended.
yeah, yeah. I think McAllister, who was him? McAllister and
McAllister had come off by then.
yeah. So, but who was your midfield again?
It started off with Szoboszlai and McAllister in the double
Yeah,
pivot.
yeah. See, I think that lack of DM, even though Gravenberch wasn't a DM, like a traditional DM, I think he played that really well last season. So I think,
Yeah, I think the team did well, did okay. For 2-0, I felt like where Bournemouth were exposed in Liverpool was trying to. I think they were picking on Kirkes
mm,
because
yeah,
they knew his game. Once he made that rash challenge, and I think it was on Smith, he was in danger, and it was like let's get him. And then apparently Frimpong had a knock from the Community Shield,
yeah,
so
yeah. Slot said, yeah,
and because Bradley's injured, he didn't want to risk having somebody else coming in injured against Newcastle, so he decided to take him off. But what he should have done is he should have put on Gomez as right back and not Endo. And then when he saw the mistake, he then changed it. But by then they had got into goals, and you can see that Endo don't have the pace, like because the whole time Frimpong was there, the Bournemouth were not breaking down on the wing like that.
mm,
He comes off and then things change. But again, it's one of those things. First game of the season. There are going to be a little mixes happening
But
here.
Alex, don't you think? I think like when we were speaking about predictions for the first set of matches, I said Liverpool's issue was always gonna be in the back. Like people just haven't gelled with each other. There's been so many acquisitions on the right, on the left. I don't know what Konate was doing. Two left feet. Maybe he was doing a bit of salsa, thinking he's in Madrid.
His head was in Madrid.
But my God, yeah, he looked like Boateng 2.0, like David said. But yeah, if you guys can't shore that up, I think that's going to be undoing. So best pray Gay comes through the door.
Yeah, I feel like Liverpool and will get Guehi. I feel it is just they just need to figure out what's gonna happen with Kanai because I feel like the Kanai situation is a bit more tricky, not just for Liverpool, but I think more for I think more for Kanai because he's now sitting there thinking, well, if I sign a new contract, I'm gonna be fighting for my place with Guehi because they're gonna sign this guy. If I don't sign this contract, then if they don't sell me or can't sell me before the window closes and they bring in Guehi, I'm eating bench because you're not gonna give the guy who's decided to run down his contract time while you're bringing in another guy who's probably just as good, if not better, than him. And Guehi, you're not going to bring him in and be like, yeah, you're going to be in the bench. It's almost like you're going to have to guarantee him
Have you heard
that
the murmurings about Madrid though, where they've made the decision to not renew Rudiger or Alaba?
Alaba, I thought that was going to be a shoe-in because he hasn't featured much. He's been mostly injured. I think he's on his last legs. I see him probably go into like the MLS or maybe ends
Saudi.
up in Saudi, most likely. Um, so we'll see. Rudiger, yeah, Kanate will be an easy replacement for Rudiger. It'll be what Hoyson and Asensio will be kind of like almost Well, I thought essentially will get benched for Konate, so Konate and Hoyson will be their first choice centre backs. But we'll see what happens with that.
Trying his hardest to be the next Ramos when he's not quite there.
All right, so moving on for that game, it was the first big clash of the Titans on Sunday, where we saw Manchester United host Arsenal. Highly anticipated game. I think when the fixtures came out and everybody saw that was first game of the season for both teams, there was a lot of excitement, I would say, for the Arsenal fans after watching United finish 15th. Dread from Manchester United fans, but as the pre-season has been commencing, Man United have been made some signings and look like a team that could potentially be much higher than 15th. So I felt like a lot of Manchester United fans were going into the game, especially at home, very confident. I feel that Arsenal fans were going into the game being confident, especially that you finally got your striker, Gokes. But it just happened to be a pretty boring match, if I'm being real. 1-0 victory, 1-0 to the Arsenal, as they say. But David, what positives did you take from the game, especially where a lot of people, and even some Arsenal fans themselves, would even say that United were probably the better team?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a long time since I watched an Arsenal game when the game finished, even though we won. I was disappointed. I was disappointed because the performance was just, I wasn't happy with the performance. I mean, defensively, we were really strong as usual, always strong. Raya was really good. Saliba, Gabriel, they were really good. Obviously, talk of the town is Gyökeres and his control and his technique. But I want to remind people about Haaland's control and technique as well. You know,
But he scored in his
no,
debut,
no, no,
so
I know,
let's
I
move.
know.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
No, no, listen,
whoa,
listen.
whoa, whoa,
But
whoa.
listen,
Score
listen,
the
Relax,
praise.
man.
listen,
Relax,
listen,
guy.
listen, listen.
Relax, man.
I'm just saying.
You
No,
just started bad. Do you want to?
listen,
Do you want to? Do you
no,
want to
no,
retake
no,
that?
no, no, no,
Do
no.
you want to?
But
Do you want to take a step
listen
back?
what I'm saying. I remember Roy Keane said something about Haaland's technique and his
What
control.
division two striker? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. So all I'm saying is number one, Gyökeres is rusty. He didn't have a preseason. He spent the whole preseason trying to beg to come to Arsenal, right?
Oh wow,
Yeah. So
beg friend,
yeah,
come on, pick me, come on, pick me.
yeah. So I think I'm not worried about Gyökeres. He will get better as the season progresses. But it was worrying to see that we couldn't really the play. We couldn't really dictate the play as we normally do, even though it's Man United. But I felt Man United. I thought they played really good. I mean, Cunha, the runs he made, dribbles. I thought he was probably one of the best players on the pitch. They had
He did that. He did like a backheel spin flick
yeah,
behind. He did like that. He Cruyffed Ben White,
yeah, I
and
saw
I
that.
swear my guy was injured after that. You just see him pull up. He was just like,
Yeah,
I'm gone. I'm done.
yeah, they look good, man. I mean, Dogu looked good. Dogu done Ben White as well. So I thought he was good, and when Bramo looked good. I think they look good. I mean, Sesko came on towards the end of the match, so he couldn't really make a huge impact, obviously.
Oh, do you know
Um,
what? When Sesko came on, he just looked like Gokras' twin.
but
He
Only
looked
did.
just he
but
looked
come
just
on,
as
man.
lost. He
But
looked just as
I'm
lost.
I'm pr- I'm pretty sure Gikorish fixed his hair more times than he touched the ball.
Yeah, the hair flicks. Him and Odegaard, they put competition for the
mm,
most hair flicks.
but
Maybe we got the same. Maybe we got the same stylist. They go to the same salon.
Look,
yeah.
David, one big question, yeah, because
Mm,
been hearing a lot of people online debating all of this. First match, not really fit, hasn't had time to gel, stunk up the pitch, probably the worst player on the pitch. Maybe arguments for Bayinda with his blunder, with the conceding the goal. You play Leeds this weekend. Let's say best case scenario, he puts in a good show and maybe he scores a goal. People saying give him 4 or 5 matches to settle in, find his
He needs
rhythm.
about that. He needs a.
Now, are you telling me, let's say if he doesn't score against Leeds, he's going to then score against Liverpool end of the month, or Nottingham Forest in September, followed by Man City, then Newcastle, because it's not going to get any easier. His life's going to get a lot harder very quickly.
I hear you. I think before I answer the question directly, I would say number one, like I said, he hasn't had a preseason. Right, let's take that into account. He's rusty as a player, so he needs to build up matches. So, like Alex said, maybe 3-4 games for him to build up his sharpness, his match sharpness. You've got to remember, right? He was dominating the championship, and where did Leeds come from?
So
Championship, right?
they know him.
So they know him, yeah, exactly. So I think
So you're gonna play a championship striker against a championship team. I like it.
So he said,
you can put it like that if you want, but what I'm saying is he will score against Leeds. Yeah, he will definitely score against Leeds.
and if he doesn't,
Huh?
how are you feeling?
Is that an FPL pick? Should I be putting him at FPL?
He's in my FPL team actually, but by auto pick anyway. But I think he'll score against Leeds. But if he doesn't score against Leeds, it's nothing, man. Why are we reacting in such a way? Like if he doesn't score against Leeds, he's got to go, or he's done.
Let's be real. Everybody is on watch.
Of course,
all the new strikers on watch. Ekatike, João Pedro, Gokares, Sesko.
Pedro. Anyway, let's not talk about Pedro. Anyway.
Not much of João Pedro, and we will focus on that. Not much of João Pedro because we already know what he's about.
What he can't do, yeah.
But debut strikers on the Premier League opening day, it's like But we will talk about that.
You're forgetting that Gokares, the way he plays normally, right? He likes to run in behind, right? He likes to make runs. And Arsenal, we like to stretch the pitch and then keep the ball, right? Because I had to learn some stuff from Guardiola. So I think also we have to adapt our game.
I think he stole his whole playbook, Just...
I think we have to adapt our game for Gokares, and Gokares has to adapt his game for us as well. That takes a bit of time. So I'm confident that it will happen. Yeah, just give it time. But performance-wise, I've got nothing to say because not really, apart from the Raya and Saliba and Gabriel, there's not really any standout performances,
Well, I'll definitely say that obviously we've had some big news coming in the last hour. It seems like Arsenal have put in a bid for Eze. So if I'll tell you right now, if I was Arsenal manager, I'm dropping Odegaard, I'm putting in Eze and giving a captaincy to Rice. Who's with me?
Oh, 100%.
I think Eze can play number 10. Yeah, but if you play Eze number 10, who plays on the left?
Noni
on the left.
That's why you signed him.
I'll play Odegaard in number 10 and Eze on the left. I think
you're gonna have to. He's more versatile, so I definitely will.
Yeah.
So how do you see with Eze coming in? How do you see Arsenal lining up against Leeds?
Obviously, Eze probably wouldn't come in by then.
Just from the midfield and stuff, because I'm hearing that Zubimendi didn't really have a good time either against.
Yeah, listen, come on, it's his first match. I think Zubimendi will play. Declan Rice will play. Odegaard will play number 10. Saka will play on the right. Gokares will play again. Havertz is injured, so we've got no choice. So Gokares definitely will play.
Okay, so
on the left,
gonna see.
On left, I think he will play Martinelli starting. I don't think he'll start with Noni. And the reason why I play Martinelli is because he's just the work rate. Playing against a championship team, he's going to need a player that can put in the work.
Bro, if you want runners, I'm sure there's a couple Ethiopian man that can come and run for miles. Yeah, I was at London Marathon. I saw a couple Kip Tanui and his boys. They could do a job at Arsenal left wing. If you want runners,
Noni's not doing it. Yeah, Noni will play lots of matches. He probably will take over Martinelli long term, but Martinelli is a runner in the team.
It's depressing watching Martinelli play football because he'll literally run at his guy and then he'll position himself like he's about to dribble past and then he'll quickly turn back around and run the other way and I'm like, oh, this guy.
Somebody has to be leaving. There's a deal going on where somebody has to go. Who what?
So I just signed a contract.
Yeah. So what? Do you reckon sign a contract and get sent out on loan?
No, I think he'll stay. I think you know what? Trossard's been valuable for us. He's scored important goals, and every season he's been probably one of our top goal scoring wingers. He's definitely scored more than Martinelli in the last couple of seasons.
So obviously, Martinelli, is that what you're saying?
It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard because it's about getting the right value for him, and it's also clubs wanting him as well. I don't think a lot of clubs have made any interest in the transfer window.
Okay.
I don't think we'll sell him. I think we'll keep all three. It's a lot of yeah. I think Noni can be back up to Saka, Marcelino and Trossard on the left. And Eze is the question. If Eze comes in, that's the question really. Then someone has to go, like you said, if Eze comes in.
Okay, well, keeping with Eze, I think this is a good segue into Chelsea's game with Crystal Palace. Oh, yeah. That was me for
Was there a
most of the
match?
game.
Or
Yeah,
oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I really don't know. I saw people on the pitch running around, but I saw no goal apart from a disallowed goal, which I don't know. I saw the goal go in. I saw Eze celebrate, and then I went to the bathroom, came back, and it was still 0-0. I thought my stream was busted, and I was just like, no, there's something wrong here. Like, so Miguel, 0-0 with Palace. I think every time we have a conversation in a WhatsApp group, you always make sure that you know that you're world club champions and all of that type of stuff and blah 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 blah. Always talking about they've made this signing and you've done good business. Where was the business on the pitch when you needed it?
Yes.
What happened? What a boring game.
Yeah, it was pretty drab to be honest. But
Is this what we're gonna expect from Chelsea? Just boring games, like.
nah, you know what? I think it's a combination of things. Like, look, firstly, Palace, you have to give them the flowers where they're due. They came up with a really, really good plan.
Mhm.
They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And look, last two competitive matches, they've beaten Manchester City and Liverpool, like respectively.
On penalties.
Yeah, win's a win at the end of the day.
On
But
penalties.
but so look, they're not an average team. Like they know they're well drilled and they know how to play against bigger clubs. So like players like Eze, Gehi, Mateta, like Mateta was properly handled by Josh Achimpong. So there were a few positives, despite how drab and boring the match was. But I think the boys just looked fatigued. They looked sharper in the two preseason matches than they did playing against Palace. So maybe there are going to be some hangover effects following the Club World Cup and all of that. We'll only find out on time, but I'm not worried at all. I think it's just look, it's one match, it's a 38 game season. Take the 1-1, but definitely there were plenty of opportunities for us to score, and it would have completely switched the dynamic of the match. Esteval could have scored, Andre Santos, but they're kids. Like they need experience. They've done it, in Brazil, they've done it in France, but you can't just expect them to just drop them in a Premier League match, last 10, 15 minutes and do bits. Would have been nice, but
Oh, are we hearing early excuses for why you might not win the league?
nah, listen, I've never said we're favourites to win the league. I've never said that. I put us to finish third.
Oh, I'm not asking your favourites, but would you say you're gonna put a title challenge?
I would say like, it's worth a shout. Yeah, it really does depend on how all these new acquisitions do settle into the team. But I'll definitely say like a little challenge. Like not saying that we need to go all the way because City, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're all in really really strong positions to go ahead and push for the title. But I'll be disappointed if we were well out of the picture before we even get into December. So
Well,
we'll see in
can I
time.
ask you a question? Oh, so Esteval and who else? Who's the other guy again?
Andre Santos.
Santos. Obviously, I know Santos from France. I just think that uh, it's a bad thing for me to say, right? And it's nothing to do with racism or anything.
Uh-oh.
No, I just think Brazilians,
Uh-oh.
South
W-
American Brazilians, more
Hey,
specifically,
be careful what to say.
no, no, they take a
I have some
long time.
in Rio.
No, I know they take a long time to adapt. Yeah, in English football. Yeah, and I
Okay.
think people like Esteval, I know Santos obviously in France, and you've got some other Brazilian players I think that are not
We
playing
got
for you.
time. We don't know who they are.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah,
I don't think
Yeah,
half the Chelsea fans know who they are.
yeah.
Because
But
listen, I
I
get.
think, yeah, they take a long time to adapt. I think, I don't know, man. I don't
Look,
think.
Esteval, I've watched every minute he's played. I think he's within a shout of starting the next match. I think look, he's coming off the bench. I think if he had scored that opportunity he had, we'd be talking about him in a very different light. He played very well in the two preseason games. He's coming from a completely different continent. And I get what you're saying about Andre Santos, but he did incredible. He was captaining Strasbourg, and they almost finished in Champions League spots after finishing 13th in the season before. So I get what you're saying, but Chelsea, look, we've always had a really good thing for having Brazilian players, Willian,
Yeah,
Oscar,
Oscar. Yeah,
Ramirez, all
yeah.
these players that have come and gone and they've achieved great things with the clubs. expecting someone to just go ahead at the age of 18, 19, 20 and just be able to play Premier League ball, I think it's not fair. I think give them like up until I say January, and then that's when they've bedded in with the coach and everything, and then playing football in the cold in the winter, British weather. That's another dynamic as well.
I agree,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
see Esteval in
yeah,
gloves by the time it hits November.
I agree. Some man are putting Chelsea above Arsenal, and I'm just thinking, how can that be?
You guys haven't got the forward line. That's the thing.
No, no,
I
but
don't
but
believe
but
in the
but
forward
but
line.
can you say that you think Chelsea will finish above Arsenal
Yeah, I think there's a very good
confidently?
shout. Very good shout. I don't think, in terms of 100% certainty, no, because you guys have a more settled squad. But do I
Yeah.
think you guys are going to win the title? No, 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 no. There's not that feel good factor about Arsenal at the moment.
I feel like
There's
Chelsea
one
and
match.
Arsenal are gonna
I think
fight it out for third.
I think Man
Probably.
City and Chelsea will put them there. Put them there. They'll fight out for third and fourth, and then Liverpool and
Oh yeah,
Arsenal
you're
will
you're
fight out
going
for
for
top.
quadruple second place. It's fine. It's so cool. It's so cool. All right, moving on from Chelsea because there's not much to say about your game. 0-0, not much going on. I think half the time I was sleeping through that game anyway. Um, so looking at the rest of the fixtures results from the weekend, one of the big results we saw there was Sunderland taken apart West Ham. I feel sorry for any West Ham fan. They've gone to the other side of the country to get whooped. And I feel like Graham Potter could potentially be one of the favourites now to get sacked first already. I think it was coming on off the back of last year where results wise they weren't doing too great, but they're gonna give him time. I think time's almost up, and I reckon 5 games, if he doesn't get a result in within the next 5 6 games, it's gonna be curtains for him. 3-0 3-0 to a newly promoted team is unspeakable, and that has to be like sacking. That's sacking kind of pedigree in a sense. That's what, yeah, those kind of results there. Sunderland been promoted into the Premier League. The first time they've been back in for what feels like 8 years, 9 years. They've been away from the Premier League, and what a return! They made a load of signings. Some of them we won't even know who they are, won't know their names, because they're not needle movers. But to Sunderland, as long as they're able to help them stay in the league, which is going to be their prime objective, to start the first game of the season and to win 3-0 against a Premier League regular in West Ham, not against a newly promoted team like them, but a team that, should be doing better than what they're capable of. It's kind of it's a good victory for Sunderland, keeps them in the top 4 5 in the league over the first game. We know how it goes. They'll trickle down.
Remember,
We know.
remember West Ham's my wild card. The last podcast I said West Ham will be one of my teams to go down.
Go
So
down.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
starting.
I see it. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched, like most of us did, watch the highlights on on Match of the Day. But it looked, Sunderland looked good. West Ham looked terrible. And as you've pointed out, West Ham probably one of the favourites to go down. But I want to see West Ham. I want West Ham to stay in the league. I don't, because if they go down, like who's gonna be coming up? Because what is left in the Championship? Like who there
Ipswich is a
do
big
you
club. Ipswich is a
see?
big club. Ipswich. Good
I
old
don't want to see
Ipswich.
Ipswich again. I don't want to see Ipswich again. Like,
The thing is, it's not going to get any easier for them. Like, yeah, definitely, I can see in the next 4, 5 games them sacking Potter because they got Chelsea next tomorrow, Friday, so Chelsea have to prove a point. Then they got Forest, then they got Tottenham, then they got Palace. Like, it's just
yeah, I've got Palmer in my FPL, so I'll have to captain him against West Ham. You bet. Do you know what? If Chelsea don't beat West Ham, they don't.
We,
Miguel,
we,
you're getting
we,
cooked on this podcast. You're getting cooked next on the next one. Well, we will do a prediction so we can have a look at that. So the other Premier League results: Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 1.
that's
This
good.
was pretty much routine. I think a lot of us have seen what's happening with Brentford. They lost a couple of players. They've got Wissa who's on strike, so they were going into this new season with one, a new manager, two, they've lost their captain to Arsenal, who's made their captain a bench warmer. Um, they lost in Wembley to Manchester United, and Wissa is doing a bold Isak and just going on strike. So Brentford, I think, have been considered as potentially as having not going to have a great season and could be fighting for relegation. Forest, on the other hand, they making a couple of signings. They were able to hold on to one of their better players, Morgan Gibbs-White, who is under hostage situation with Mayanakis. They lost Alanga to Newcastle, but they haven't missed a step in their stride. Chris Woods, 2 goals.
Goals, yeah.
Anybody had one as FPL must be laughing right now. He started the season as like he finished off last season as being Forest's top goal scorer and being, I think, joint third top goal scorer last season. I believe so. I think he
Yeah,
was
he's
same
definitely
amount of
one player
goals
of the
as
year.
Haaland.
Player of the year team as
Yeah,
well.
so and he's doing well. And it's crazy how on the back of what Chris Wood is now like 30, 32, 33, something like that. Or it could be 31, 32, and how he's now decided that he's going to start bagging in some goals in the top league.
Yeah.
But we'll see how Nottingham Forest, um, you know, will go. We'll see them also in Europe, so we'll see how they're able to blend playing in Europe and also playing in the league. So we'll see how that goes. You know, how do you see Forest? Well, where do you feel Forest could probably now end up in the league? They did lose Alanga, but they're bringing in, I think they're bringing in Amaya Hutchinson and also
Louise.
Matty
Good.
from Man City. Douglas Luiz, I
Yeah.
think that deal's been agreed.
Mm.
I think it's just now personal terms that they have to. So are Forest getting stronger?
Yeah, obviously the loss in Langer, like you said, I think mid-table and above, I think would be
Hmm.
a good finish for Nottingham Forest. I thought,
So no surprise being they were like top three for a few months, weren't they, in the league?
yeah. You know what? I don't think they're doing that again this season, but I think, I mean, like, when I watched the game, it was a good match. I thought Hudson-Odoi played decent on the left wing. I thought Chris Wood obviously scored the 2 goals. More Gibbs-White played well. Add Douglas Luiz to that. Add McAtee to that. Add some players. I think they'll finish mid-table or above. I think they look good, and I'm happy that they're not a team that sold obviously Elanga and who else? One more player they sold, didn't they? One more player.
I think it was just Alanga.
Just Langa was it? I'm happy that they're a team that are going to progress rather than degress. Obviously they can't get Champions League football, but I think they can get maybe Conference League football again. If they can do that repeatedly, I think that's a good season for them.
Okay, cool. Well, moving on to another team who's gonna be up there challenging for the title, Manchester City away at Wolves. Similar situation with Liverpool playing a team that had lost at least one or two key players. Wolves losing 8-0 to Man City. And it's funny how Kirk's left back played against his former club first game of the season, and 8-0 doing the same thing, left back playing against his former team Wolves. Cunha's gone on to Manchester United. And City have made their own signings as well, bringing in Reinders, Shirky. They've got Oscar Bobna back from injury. And it really looks like, they're firing. Reinders having an absolute blinder, scored an assist in a 4-0 victory. Haaland scores as well. So we did our predictions last week. I know it's only one game, but do you want to kind of make some changes there? Where do you feel Man City, just based off that performance, do you feel that they can still play well and get results without having Rodri, who's now out injured?
To be honest, I think I'm still very much in the same headspace where I think I think when City do come up against, more established, decent opposition, teams that debatably aren't going to be fighting for their place in the Premier League, I think we're going to really get a test as to whether they're going to make it. Like right now, they're going up against Tottenham, who I think are on the bounce, feeling quite confident, signed a few good players. And then after that, it doesn't get any easier until come the end of September after they've played United, City. So I think we'll get a real taste as to where they're going to be standing come the end of the season. But I don't think they have the depth in that midfield. Rodri's struggling with injury. It's looking more and more like he's not going to be available in the same capacity. And I said it before he got that big injury last season. If City lose Rodri, that's their title challenge over. And he's that key piece. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I think well, Reinders look good. I'll be honest. Reinders had a really good game, scored a goal, made an assist. Um, he's obviously not Rodri. But I feel no, 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 let's hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out.
Oh, one sec.
But it's wash up time, bro. It's wash up time, bro. That's all right. That's all right. You know, if Rodri was fit and he played alongside Riders, that would be a good double pivot, like in midfield, and then obviously Shirky or Foden as a number 10. But I think,
Bernardo Silva, don't
yeah,
forget
Bernardo
him.
Silva as well. But I think they might be losing the Kanji, apparently. They might be losing Ake as well. I think Rico Lewis is apparently signed, so he's not going. Um,
Wait, are we saying losing or are they getting rid of?
yeah, well, yeah, getting rid of. Yeah, but Rico Lewis apparently is staying, but Kanji apparently has got a bid from Galatasaray. They're interested in buying him, but they just
I think he will go. He's done it all now. He
yeah,
did the treble. He's won it all with them. So
yeah,
yeah, I think it could be a time. But he's still young enough to be
yeah,
still playing top level football.
yeah.
But where are these Turkish teams getting this money from? They need to
Yeah,
investigate
but they got
Galatasaray.
Osimhen, they got
They're buying,
Osimhen,
they're
they
buying out
got
everybody. What's
yeah,
going on?
yeah. I don't know, man.
That's all other one that comes from the Turkish government, man. It's pure corruption.
Turkish mafia, yeah. But seriously, I think Man City. I I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I don't think they'll. I think they'll have a good season, but too many players unproven in the Premier League. I think they will be tested when they play big clubs. Reinders, I like him as a player. Shirky, number
He's
10.
busy. He's
Yeah, yeah.
busy.
Even Oscar Bob, he's a decent player as well. But it's a lot of it's a lot to replace De Bruyne and Rodri and then win the league. Yeah, in one season. You got De Bruyne left last season. Rodri's injured pretty much for the rest of the season. I know he's not going to play. Even if he does play, he's going to be used sparingly, right? He's going to come off, get injured again, all that sort of stuff. So I don't think this is the season for them. And beating Wolves, who lost at Nori, who lost Cunha, beating Wolves is not a true test, right? It's not a true test.
But it's good. It's good for the morale,
Yeah, it's good for the
for the
morale, of
supporters,
course, of
and
course.
for the team. A win
Yeah,
is a win.
but they have to win that. They have to win that game. Simple. So it's a must-win game, right? Wolves are who probably will be one of the relegation candidates or close to that anyway, with the two players they've lost. But let's see. Let's see when they play. I think we're going to play them soon, Man City. So let's see. Let's see when they're truly tested. Anyway,
But on your current form, do you feel going against Man City? How would you
what
fare?
form is one match? One match.
But you're
All the hype.
but you're but you're playing them soon. It's a couple more
Yeah,
games and you've
yeah,
got them.
yeah.
So do you think you've got enough to sharpen up in time to play City?
I think in terms of being ready, the way we play is going to test Man City because we can press them high.
Oh, set pieces, yeah, set
Set
pieces, yeah, yeah,
pieces,
yeah.
but no, it's not Stoke. Come on, man. We can.
Yeah, of course not Stoke. Of course it's Stoke. No
we-
one's calling you Stoke. You're Arsenal.
yeah, exactly. We can press them high, and I think when they start facing intensity like that, like really getting high press, we'll be able to see what they're made of, right?
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting
Definitely
to see,
interesting to
definitely.
see.
But I think we potentially could win that match against Man City. We've got more experience in the Premier League. We've got more experience with the intensity, and they've got players that are not as experienced. Unless they play Bernardo Silva number 10, they bring in Kovacic, they bring in Foden. They play all the usual players that are experienced, and they drop all the youngsters. Let's see. Yeah,
Okay, we'll see. Moving on. Tottenham hosted Burnley, ended up winning 3-0. Thomas, Frank's first competitive game in charge, well, second competitive game after losing on a penalty shootout to the current European champions, not you, Chelsea. No, the proper European champions, PSG. I think everybody was anticipating Tottenham to win this game. Burnley being the yo-yo Premier League / Championship team every season. They're either one season they're in the Premier League, next season Championship, one season Premier League, next season Championship. We're getting kind of bored of this yo-yo team. I don't think we are going to see Burnley do anything that's different from last year. Tottenham clean sheet, which is good. Everybody was complaining about their high line with Postecoglou last season, but we know that Thomas Frank is defensively sound. He went with a back three and was playing wing backs, which is what he used to play with at Brentford. Before, no, he was playing a 3-4-3, but similar to this. So using the players he's got at the club. So we'll see what Tottenham are about. Kudus made his debut, played very well.
That little shimmy by
Charleston,
Kudos, oh my God, that when he
oh,
before he crossed it, that defender nearly died, man. I thought that defender.
almost
Yeah,
ended it on the first day.
yeah.
And to see Richarlison score, contender of goal of the season of the first game with a good old scissor kick, so we can at least remember that Richarlison could finish. It's been a long time since we've seen him actually score a goal of such beauty and elegance. But yeah, routine victory for Tottenham, 3-0 win, and there's not much to say on that. Brighton Fulham, another boring game, 1-1 draw. Um, Brighton seemed to dominate most of that game and just weren't able to see it through, with Fulham grabbing a equaliser in the last 9 minutes of the game. Muniz, who was almost going to be on his way out. A 35 million bid by Atalanta was rejected. They may come back for another bid, but I don't see Fulham, with it being so close to the window closing, that they're going to bring in another striker. If they lose Muniz, then they pretty much just got what's the Mexican guy called again? Sorry, the one had a head injury. What's
Oh, what's
his
his
name?
name? Used to play for Wolves, innit?
Yeah.
I forgot his name now.
How has it gone
He's,
from my
he's in and
mind?
out.
It's
He's
gone.
in and out anyway. It's just he's
Yeah,
in and
he's in
out.
he's in and out of the team, but we'll see what happens with that. Then we had another boring game, Aston Villa versus Newcastle. That match was, I'm not going to say it was highly anticipated, but I think there was going to be a lot of focus on Newcastle because of the whole Isak situation. How are Newcastle going to line up because they technically have no strikers? Released Callum Wilson, who's now at West Ham, and Isak is obviously on strike. So it was going to be like, well, what does life look like without Isak? Um, and we've seen what it is. It means no goals. So not much to say on that game. I want to quickly just get your kind of views on the Isak situation. How do you feel that's going to unfold? Has Isak taken well, I wouldn't say the correct route of trying to get out of the club, but do you feel it's ever just to go on strike? You guys were interested in Gokeres at the time that he was striking. So who do you back in this case?
Mm.
Do you back the player for wanting to kind of leave and trying to do his best to make it uncomfortable for the team to sell them, or do you back the club in making a stand and not selling one of the Premier League's best strikers to a rival?
You
I
know what?
think,
No, go on.
sorry,
Go
go
on.
ahead, David.
Okay. I think it's a natural inkling for us as employees to support Isaac, right? Against kind of big corporations because we have similar stories where we're treated by our employers and big companies. So I think it's a natural thing for many fans to support Isaac, but in reality, um, I think Isaac is in the wrong, in my opinion. Number one, if you have any agreements with the club, get it in writing, get it in your contract, get it as part of your deal. Don't make it all verbal agreement, handshake, or promises. This doesn't exist in football. right? So in my way, I'm thinking maybe that could also be a ploy for him to get out of the club. To say, oh, well, I was promised this, I was promised that. If there's someone at the club who promised him something, say who he is. If you can come out with a statement, say who that person is. If you're brave enough to come and talk about it in your social media, say who promised that you can leave the club this season. Right? On Newcastle side, their statement is, well, if we get the right offer, we'll sell you. So maybe there's a breakdown in communication because Newcastle is saying, you know what, we haven't received the bid to sell you, right?
Well, I think I heard something along the lines of I've forgotten her name, but she was one of the
Amanda something,
directors.
Amanda.
Amanda
Amanda,
Stanley,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. Apparently, it was like with her and her team that they had an agreement with Isak that listen, if a team comes in, if one of the big clubs comes in with a reasonable fee of a certain amount, we would listen to that, and also the contract as well in terms of giving him potentially bigger salary. She left, and then the ones who took over were mostly probably well, you didn't agree with us.
yeah,
Who you agreed it
yeah,
with is not in the club no more. So we may have been aware of it, but I didn't say yes. Me? No. Who are you talking to me? I didn't say anything. You had the conversations with them. So this is why, and you're not the first person, David, to say Isak should name who, because I think it would be kind of embarrassing if he did name his who, because if that is true,
mm,
then you've made an agreement with people who no longer serve the club. So for you to come out and say, "Oh, Amanda said I could go, but Amanda's not here,"
yeah,
so
mm,
what is that gonna do?
I think we've seen the same situation play out across many different situations. I think Gyökeres had the same sort of situation where officially
Gentleman agreement.
clause was 100 million euros, but then there was a gentleman's agreement where they would accept a lower bid of like, I don't know, 70 million euros, I think was roughly the
No, I
number
think
that
it
was
was about
given.
58. It
No, but
was
that's pounds. But in euros, it was 70
okay.
million euros that was being quoted as the amount that they would let him go for. But I think, look, it's tough because there's an argument for both sides. I think you should always get in writing whenever it comes to employer negotiations, whatever it is, because nothing's promised unless it's in black and white. Because I can wake up one day and have a complete change of heart if you're banging in goals and now your value is X amount more than what we agreed at the time. Of course, as a business, I'm going to want to extract more value from you. But then you, as an employee, you're obviously going to want to get your move in the most convenient manner possible so you can extract the most in terms of your wage packet, signing on bonus, and all these other things. Because naturally, if you're spending 150 million for a transfer fee, that's naturally going to take away from what you can get in terms of payment compensation for your what you're bringing to the table. There's no clean cut answer, but look, Eddie Howe's been here before. He did it with Bournemouth years ago when a number of players wanted to leave and they were just refusing and they got relegated and he got sacked. So he probably doesn't want to go through this whole fiasco again. Of course, he wants to keep Isak. Isak is, I would say, the most complete striker in the league. He's more complete than Haaland, but Haaland is what he's good at, which is scoring goals, irrelevant of the other aspects of his game. But I think 150 million is a bit overkill. It's one of those
mm,
figures you
I agree.
set that is to
So
deter
where
people.
where do you feel it got to a point where Isak then decided, you know what, I'm gonna go on a strike? Do you feel it's more of a case of he felt that the bid was good enough that they should have accepted, or the fact that it was a team that he considers to be better than Newcastle
David's on
were
the move, man. What's
came in?
going on? David, who's chasing you?
David, don't start. Don't start. He's on the move. Look at him. He's on the move.
Liam Neeson from Taken's gonna pop out.
I told you I was gonna fight you. It's like David got told to get out of this room. Get out. All right, but yeah, where do you feel that kind of
Ah,
kind of happened? A case of Isak being like, you know what, it's the money. You got offered 110, potentially 120. You said no, or it's a case of Liverpool showing interest. I want to go to them.
I think it's just a case of just. I don't know if you guys can remember the timing. The timing of him coming out saying that he wanted to move right after you guys signed Hugo Ekitike was ridiculous. Everyone's gone out, spent their money, got their striker targets, and now when a lot of key clubs that could have been in contention or could have sold the players, offloaded them to put them in a position to be able to bid for Isak. It just seemed like his agent just did a really poor job of instructing him what to do and when to do it.
Heard that
So
he's fired him apparently.
it's same situation with Victor Osimhen, where I think it's just poor instruction, poor agent. Realistically, if this is what you want to do, you've agreed something, then go ahead, sign a new contract, slightly higher fee, and you put in a clause that's achievable, installments or whatever it is, and then everyone's happy. There's no confusion. Next summer, like he said, like he agreed last year, you can move forward. But now, look, it's turned into this awful thing. He would have left, respected by the fans, having achieved a lot. He's got his big move where he can win trophies. But even if he moves to Liverpool now, there's going to be a bit of a stink about the situation where, some people will think he's a nasty person.
Me as a Liverpool fan, I don't care if we get him, we get him.
Well, you
I
need them.
feel, I feel, yeah,
You
I
need them.
feel we do. I feel like we are short of a striker. I do have reservations on how Liverpool can potentially play Ekitike and Isak. I really don't see it. I feel that Ekitike is new to the league. He's young. I don't think he came into Liverpool thinking that he was going to be the main man. I don't think anybody told him that. I think it's a case of it was obvious Liverpool needed strikers. The passing of Diego Jota. There was so much speculation around Liverpool signing Nunes. It was not, it was news. Everybody knew it. So it wasn't a secret. So for him to come in, he was thinking, okay, I'm going to come in, and another striker is going to also come in. If it's Isak, it's Isak. So I think maybe that's what even probably got him to probably even sign for Liverpool. That okay, cool. They've signed Wirtz. He knows Wirtz from the Bundesliga. Then to potentially bring in Isak, who he probably sees as one of the best strikers in the Premier League. So to learn of Isak, get into the system, and to play in a team that's going to champion, he's going to compete for the league, he's going to compete for the Champions League. I think that's what sold it to him. I don't think it's a case of him being told you're going to be our new number 9. So if Isak does come in, it will be good for Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool will go for another striker if they don't get Isak. I think it's a case of just them waiting and potentially maybe having a false 9. You've got people like Gakpo, Chiesa and Wirtz who could probably play in multiple positions to accommodate where the team could lack. So I don't see it. I don't see it as a problem because at first I did feel that when we went for Ekitike, I felt, well, we've now kind of stopped Newcastle from getting a striker. So why would they now sell Isak? Because they'll be stupid to sell Isak. And to be fair, if Newcastle stay firm, Isak will play. He's thrown his
That's the plan.
toys and dummy out of the pram. He's now have to get out of the pram, collect his toys, and put him back in the pram again because he has to play.
He has to be professional because it's a World Cup year as
He
well.
has to be
It's a
professional.
World Cup year as well, so
Exactly.
he needs to be playing games.
So Newcastle in a position where can they, over the course of the season, convince Isak to sign a new contract or convince him to stay and not to make the move? I don't. After that statement that dropped last night, it's clear he doesn't care. Whatever's going to happen, he's going to leave. But I don't see a part where Newcastle can sell him and play a whole season or even up to January without a recognised number 9. It don't make sense. I thought maybe in the last, if Isak's going to move, it's going to be after the Newcastle game on Monday night. I don't see them potentially selling Isak, and he hasn't played much. He hasn't played much. Hasn't played at all. Hasn't had a preseason. Hasn't featured in their games. So he's going to take a while to get going. Maybe after the international break, we might see him appear. That could be wearing the colours of Liverpool or wearing the colours of
The
Newcastle.
crazy thing is, Isaac's doing that to Newcastle, and then Newcastle want Wissa, and Wissa's doing that to Brentford. It's like
Yeah,
it's like it's the
this
same thing happening to both players.
and Gokkeris did
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
to,
Well,
you know.
that's what
So it seems to be a
I'm
trend,
saying.
man. It seems to be a
Players
trend.
do it. Because I think a lot, like I said, a lot of us will side with the player because it's like almost like the employee story. But I think players also want to find a way out of the club. Because sometimes they do kind of not necessarily make up stories, but they make it sound a bit more far-fetched than the actual story itself. You know, maybe there were made promises, but it wasn't, oh, we promise we're gonna let you go. We're gonna look into it. If a club comes in, we'll look into it. Right? If the fee is good, we'll sell you. And they might think, well, a club came in, you didn't sell me. Well, it was a wrong fee. You know, it wasn't what we wanted for you. So I think a lot of players might be getting the wrong side of the stick when they're given these promises, these handshakes, you know. Um,
Yeah, these don't. Yeah, I think these gentlemen agreements, handshakes, and people telling them, "You have my word." I don't think now you need stuff to be in on paper
yeah,
now. You need to
yeah,
have
for real.
stuff legal. So we'll see. It's a saga that has started at the start of the season, at the start of the summer, and by the end of the summer, the saga will continue. So we'll see how that looks. So I wanna, before we even have a look at the fixtures for the coming weekend, um, and we will obviously, I would like to have you guys' predictions. I want you guys to kind of like pick out anyone who kind of like stood out from the weekend, who performed well or who had a didn't perform well. What kind of judgment did you have? Did somebody's debut go to plan? Did somebody's debut didn't go to plan? Any surprising people that were forgotten and came up? Like who stood out for you for whatever reason? Well, I'll start with you, Miguel.
Um, I think key player would probably be Reinders. Off the back of scoring a brace in the last preseason match, could have easily been a hat trick. Um, yeah, that sort of debut, I think, pretty solid. He's definitely on a lot of people's watch lists, FPL like. Um,
He was in my FPL, did well.
he did really, really well for the price. But yeah, I think he was the standout player for a lot of people.
Okay, David.
Yeah, boring for me is probably Reinders because I watched that match. I think Reinders. When you say debut, do you mean first match or their first match in the club?
Someone who stand out,
Okay,
who stood
yeah,
out on the weekend
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
I'll say Reinders and I'll say Cunha had a good match because I watched that match fully. I thought Cunha had a good game in that.
Okay, you can only pick one.
Okay, okay. In that case, let me pick. I'll say Reinders as well. Yeah, yeah. He was
Okay, you went for
outstanding.
Mendes.
Yeah,
Because I've got a real obvious one, and it was gonna be FTK, but at the same time, I feel like I should join you boys with Reinders. I felt like he had a performance, but I think I'm gonna go with FTK just based on the fact that there's so much speculation. I said before, so much speculation surrounding Isak and whether this guy, and he's just proven right now that, boy, you can't bench me. And I'm gonna do some bits, and I thought he'd do bits, so I'll say it's a TK. Stood out for me from his good debut. Scored
think
at
I think
Anfield,
two
which
other
is good.
players worth a shout as well, because they were flying under the radar, given
Honorary
preseason.
mentions.
Richarlison, Chris
yeah,
Wood,
yeah, yeah. Good one.
definitely they
Yeah,
two
Richarlison.
two
Okay,
two two very good matches. They
okay.
both scored braces.
Wait, who scored a brace
Richarlison,
apart from Chris?
Yeah, that's 2 goals.
yeah, scored two
You
goals.
got
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Yeah,
Volley and then
Oh damn.
that sort of bicycle kick. He scored 2 goals.
Wait, a volley and bicycle kick. Is that the same one? What are you
Richarlison.
talking about? He scored a. Oh, someone scored a bicycle kick, and he said he scored a volley as
Yeah,
well.
scored I think it was the volley, wasn't it, Miguel? His
The bicycle kick was one of
no, I
them.
first
don't think
goal.
it was a bicycle kick, but definitely scored a
So
volley.
what was
His
the other
first goal
goal
was a
then?
volley, I think. It was volley and then a bicycle kick. Yeah, I'm sure it was a volley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Was it?
volley. Yeah, volley and
I
then a
need to, I need
bicycle
to
kick.
go.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals.
I need to go and watch them
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right, cool. Well, because I know that Kudos got 2 assists,
Mm.
yeah.
so Sargent got two
He got two
goals.
goals. Yeah, he definitely got 2 goals.
Are you
Yeah, yeah, he
sure?
got 2 goals for sure.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
check this
he's got
because
two
am
goals.
I have I have
He's
I
got two
was I
goals.
s- was I
It's
sleeping?
against Burnley, so you have to
Okay,
take
yeah,
it
he
with
did.
a
He did.
pinch of
Okay, yeah,
salt.
Yeah, yeah.
he did. Okay, he did score 2 goals. Okay, he did score. All right, wonderful. All right, so we'll do some predictions. for the weekend. Okay, so Friday we've got another Friday night game, and it is West Ham entertaining Chelsea. So an opportunity for West Ham to pick up some points at home, and also a opportunity for Chelsea to try and play catch up very early, as they have only got 1 point. So Miguel, because you are the honorary Chelsea fan here, what is your prediction for the results? We've got a lot to go through, so don't go into too much detail. Just let me know what you
Oh,
feel.
quick fire. I think it'll be, pardon me, it'll be 3-1 Chelsea. I think they got a couple of good players. I think I can see them on the transition getting a sneaky little consolation goal, but I think ultimately a bit of a wake-up call that the players were probably riding high from the Club World Cup win. I think now they realize this is the league, so we got to pull up our socks and play properly.
David,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
get your
okay.
name David here.
I didn't even hear you. I didn't even hear you, man. I didn't even hear you say David. But I think, obviously, yeah, Chelsea will win that game. West Ham on the down. I think Chelsea will win. I'll go for, I'll go for 3-1. 3-1
3-1.
Chelsea, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go similar scoreline to you, David, but I'm gonna go for 3-0. I don't see West Ham scoring. I think they've got issues in their attack. They've got Callum Wilson and Fulkrug both injury prone, and I don't think they're gonna bring much apart from giving work for the physios to do. So yeah, I'll say a 3-0 Chelsea win. I think what we might do moving forward is like I'll keep a record of what our predictions are and see how we got on with that, or just watch them back and see how close we were. So then, early kickoff on the Saturday 12:30 game, we've got Manchester City versus Tottenham. Predictions on that, Miguel?
It's gonna be an interesting match. I'll put Manchester City 2-1, but I think definitely Tottenham have the capacity to hit them on the counter.
David?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think it'll be a tight match, but Man City will just edge it 3-2. I think there's going to be goals, definitely going to be goals in that match. But it's going to be a first real test for Man City anyway. So 3-2 Man City.
Yeah, I feel like it is going to be a big test for both teams. Manchester City being home, having home advantage. I think they'll be ready to try and put Tottenham to the swords. Tottenham actually do have a decent record against Manchester City. So I wouldn't be surprised if the game ends up in a draw. So I'm gonna go 2-2.
I was going to say that as well, but I just thought let me give the home team a little bit of an advantage.
Cool. Next game we have Bournemouth versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. This potentially could be a relegation clash already. But I thought Bournemouth will be okay. So that's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Miguel, what's your score prediction on this one?
Bournemouth 2-0. I think even though both teams are quite depleted, Bournemouth have done a better job of replacing people they've sold, whereas Wolves, I don't really see them having much going forward. Maybe Strand Larson scores a sneaky little goal. He's quite a productive player, but nah, 2-0, I think it's going to end.
Yeah, so
David?
same result for me. 2-0. Semenyo will score. Yeah.
I think we're going for the hat trick here. We're going for a 2-0. I'm going for Smith to score. I might even put him in my FPL. I might have to get rid of that. All right. Then we have Brentford versus Villa. This will see Ollie Watkins coming back to his former stomping ground, Brentford, yes again. They both, well, Brentford are off the mark in terms of scoring. Then it's Xhaka Thiago scoring a penalty. Villa yet to score. So, what do you think the score prediction on that will be, Miguel?
Uh, I think Villa's got too much going forward. I think it's going to be probably 2-1 Villa, but I think maybe if we see Dango Otara signed from Bournemouth, if he debuts, he's a good player going forward. So I think, yeah, they'll have a little bit more than they did in the opening match.
Okay, David?
Yeah. I think it's going to be totally mind backed out. Yeah, I think Brentford will lose that match.
Yeah,
I
I
think
feel
I
as
think
well.
3-1,
What score?
3-1 I'll go for. Yeah.
3-1. Okay. I think Brentford will struggle to score, but they could potentially score one. Konza will miss the game because he got sent off in the last. I will go with I'll go with 3-1 as well, Villa. And then you have the first clash from the newly promoted team. So Burnley will host Sunderland. What do you think about that game? Big old clash.
I think just given the way the first match went, but West Ham aren't particularly doing well, I think you have to definitely favourite Sunderland. But Burnley have also made some really good acquisitions. Both players have former and current Chelsea players. But I'll say 1-0 Sunderland. I can see it be quite a dry match and probably dying minutes. Sunderland grabs a little something and jumps up to 6 points.
Yeah, I think it's one of those matches where you just don't want to watch really. Um, I mean, it's going to be a boring match, but one thing for sure, there's going to be a lot of fight. There's going to be a lot of fight. Both championship teams, there's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of fight, and I think that will kind of derail the quality of the match, in my opinion. So I'm going to go for, yeah, I'm going to go for a 0-0. Yeah,
Wow. I can't see this game ending 0-0. I feel like this is a game where blood will be shed. Um,
Red card.
Burnley home, potentially, but I think that can happen anywhere, anytime, to be fair. Put money on that. Burnley at home against Sunderland. Sunderland again, yeah, they got their first win. Burnley are coming back of a beating from Tottenham. I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna go 1-1.
yeah.
Then we have our evening 5:30 clash. We have Arsenal at home to Leeds. Because you're the honorary Arsenal fan, we'll start with you, Dave. What's your predictions on this?
I think Leeds won their first game, didn't they? And yeah,
Yeah, 1-0
yeah,
against Everton.
yeah, and Everton is not a small club.
And I didn't purposely miss that game when we were
Mm,
talking about it. I just feel like Everton are
mm,
trash, and they weren't worth speaking about.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
they lost 1-0.
Well, they
Controversial
just bought
1-0.
Grealish, so they've got one of the best players in the world, apparently.
To who?
English
To
English
his
media.
mum.
Yeah,
He's an English
yeah.
darling.
I think,
So what
yeah,
was
I
your
think
score?
it's not going to be as easy as what people predict. So I think I'm going to go for, um, I'll go for 3-1 to Arsenal. I think it's going to be a,
3-1
a
Arsenal.
game where we start to show glimpses of the Arsenal that from last season slowly. I think Gyökeres will score at least one goal.
Miguel.
Not gonna let there be a hat trick for this one. I have a feeling. I watched some of the extended highlights of that Leeds and Everton match, and I think Leeds they look very interesting, even though Everton have a decent squad. I think he's gonna finish 1-1. I don't know. Like I just have this like feeling that everyone's predicting Arsenal to steamroll Leeds, and I think either Leeds score a very early first goal when Arsenal switched off. Sometimes they struggle to get up and running in matches, or maybe they lock it up a bit too early and they end up conceding a late goal and panicking towards the end trying to get the win. So I think 1-1 will be the result.
I'm going for an Arsenal win, and I feel it'll be clean. I'm going with a 3 to probably 4-0. I'm gonna go for 4-0 Arsenal. I feel two of the goals will be a set piece. I don't think Leeds have enough up top to trouble probably the best defense in the Premier League. Shut them. They're gonna shut up shop. The key will be the midfield. Also have a better midfield than Leeds, and I feel that this will. I think Gyökeres will score. So this is what I'm going with. I'll go for 4-0. Then Sunday games, we have two 2 o'clock kickoffs. We've got Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest.
That's a good
That
game.
is a
That is a good
clash.
game to watch.
That's
That's
a
a good
good
game.
game. I'm hoping that one's. I hope that's the live
Yeah,
two
that's a good
o'clock
game to
game.
watch.
That's gonna be a good game. But I thought it's gonna be less exciting because by the time they play, I feel like
Is that good here?
Eze won't be
And good
there.
here as well.
Maybe,
Mm,
maybe. I think Gehi leaves on the last day of the
mm.
transfer window.
Have you guys seen that clip? I'm not sure when it was
I
taken.
saw
It's
it. Yeah, I
definitely
saw
taken
it.
out of
The
context.
manager.
Where he's ignoring Glasner.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy
yeah,
yeah.
stuff. Crazy.
yeah. I think that's for something that that instructions he gave him probably in the game, and he put it. Nah, I'm not listening. I don't think it's anything to do with
Liverpool.
you know.
That's a manager that's
Yeah,
won you
yeah, yeah.
two trophies, man. You need to. I get it. You want your move and you're feeling this, that, or the other, but you need to have a bit of respect.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That's true. I agree.
2 trophies in 3 months.
I agree.
So I'm distracted because yesterday I had this fat spider just come walking. I don't know where he came out of. Just came walking along my floor. I was literally just got out of the shower, so I'm sitting there with my lotion in one hand, and the spider come towards me, and I was like, why are you coming towards me? You should be looking to maneuver because it's like it's been quiet the whole time and big ass thing. It was the size of like a ping pong ball with legs. And I was like, what are you doing? And I obviously hearing the report about don't leave your windows and doors open during summer. There's these real venomous spiders. I don't know what breed it is or species of spiders. I did not want to get up close enough. I had to, you know. So whenever I see something flicker or move in my room, I'm like, it's another spider because my windows were closed.
Mm-mm.
They were closed for a whole day. Then all of a sudden they came out. So I'm thinking, you came in there at some point and you've been chilling.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been chilling somewhere in my room, and for whatever reason, you decided to come out. Wow, I was there in my towel. What did you come to see? You come to see a show. You weren't getting one, my friend, and now you met death, and now you're in my bin. Anyway, sorry, I was a bit distracted because I thought I saw
You're a
something
big guy,
move.
Alex, to be getting shook from spiders, man. Chuck a dumbbell
Listen,
at it or
listen.
something.
No. Listen. I'll tell you right. I'll tell you this right now. Yeah, I watched the film as a kid,
Oh, that
Arachnophobia.
film, yeah.
Yeah, that did me. I ended up. I was This is how I was. I was sitting on the sofa watching it. By the time I finished the film, legs up like this from watching that film, I think I must have been about at least 10, 11 years old. I was never scared or never hated insect spiders until I watched that film because I was thinking, that's not CGI. Those are real fucking spiders. So, yeah. Sorry, but back to that. Palace, Nottingham Forest, predictions, Miguel.
I think with Eze gone, even though they got Walton, Mateta, I just have a feeling, yeah, they're very strong defensively. I think it's going to be 2-1 Forest.
David.
I think there's gonna be a draw. I think
Mm-mm.
Palace, if Eze is left by them, which I doubt, I think it'll happen probably next week. Eze and Gohe mostly in the week next week. I think it will be a draw because I think Glasner's a good manager, man. And he'll know how to beat what's his name again? The old Tottenham manager.
Nuno
Yeah,
Nuno
Dos
Nuno
Santos.
Santos.
Santo. I think, but then again, I think Nottingham Forest players. I think the way they play, they're really hungry. They've got wingers. They've got Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs White. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be, um, I think 2-2 for me.
Believe that both defenses and keepers are going to be very elite, very alert. I don't see it being a host of goals. But with that being said, I did see Nottingham Forest crumble on a couple of occasions last season where they got battered by Brighton, they got battered by Newcastle. I think both teams are evenly matched if I'm being real. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw. Crystal Palace home advantage. 1-0 Palace. And then we have 2 o'clock game. I know this game's gonna be boring. Everton host Brighton at their new stadium. I've forgotten the stadium now. Was it something Hickens?
No idea.
Something.
But
What's what's
What
this?
was it at Brighton Stadium?
Everton Stadium. What's it called again? It's called something
it's no
Dickerson.
longer Goodison Park.
Something. No,
No, they
Goodison's an
moved
old
it.
I
stadium.
don't even know.
They
That's how.
moved it. They
It's
called
called the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
what a shit name. I'm sorry, I don't care. Any Everton fans who watch this podcast, that name's terrible. Like, come up with something sexy. That's not sexy. That's not sexy. It feels like it's a festival of Morris dancing.
Ima-
That's what
Imagine
that's what it feels
spending
like.
800 million pounds to call your new stadium that.
Yeah, you need to sell the
It's probably
rights.
it's probably in
Sell
line
the
with their
rights.
heritage or something.
Who cares about the
It's probably in
heritage,
line with
man?
something in their past.
Heritage, they won nothing, like a 1992 FA Cup or something. Like, who cares? Like, name it something sexy. Call it the Jaguar Stadium or something. I don't know. Better than the Bill Hickerson, whether Bill Cosby Stadium. I don't know what it's called anyway. So, Everton, who lost their opening game against Leeds, now are at home against Brighton. Brighton, who were close to getting a win against Fulham. How do you feel that will fare out, Miguel?
Uh, it's going to be a tight match, tight match. To be honest, I see it being like a 1-1, 2-2 draw. I think they both have. They're sound teams are Brighton. even on a good day, they're capable of conceding a goal. So I think it's two well-drilled teams. Brighton have done well to replace players they've lost.
They
But
always do well facing players they've
but
lost.
Fulham, yeah, they're training our next signings and for a couple of years' time, one would say. But look,
Yeah, who's next going to buy from Brighton?
but Fulham have kept most of their key players. They've been very tidy, gone on the radar, and
Fulham, what are you talking about?
wait, isn't it Brighton and Fulham?
I'm Brian
Nah,
and
it's
Everton.
Brighton Everton,
Brighton
man.
Yeah,
Everton. Oh, my bad, my
that's
bad.
all right.
Oh no, then that's definitely Brighton. Brighton
Okay,
2-0.
good. Brighton. 2-0 Brighton. David.
I don't know. I think it's going to be Grealish's debut, isn't it? I think it's his first match or something.
No,
Oh,
he
he
played
did.
against Leeds.
Okay. What?
Came off
He
the
started
bench.
on the bench.
Yeah, he came off the
Yeah,
bench.
Came off the
yeah,
bench.
yeah.
Yeah, he was
And
on the
they're playing
bench.
at Everton as well. I'm going to go for an Everton win. I'll go for 1-0 Everton, even though Brighton probably on the player front should win that game. I think Everton, the new stadium, the hype and everything, they're going to want to win that match. They're going to work hard to try and win that match.
I don't care about the new ground, and I hope they lose.
Of course it is.
Brighton,
By
Brighton,
the way, I
2-0.
looked it up while we were here talking. The reason it's called the Hill Dickinson Stadium is because of the naming rights being sold to a Liverpool-based law firm, and they apparently pay about 10 million quid a year to call the stadium that.
Yeah,
I'll just get the
interesting.
money back. And we're going with the last game on that Sunday evening, the 4:30 kickoff, Fulham versus Manchester United. Fulham at the Craven Cottage against the team that finished 15th last season. What do you reckon?
1-1. I think that's probably a fair prediction. Um, they're away from home. They haven't got the comforts of playing at Old Trafford, and I think there's still going to be, even though there was promising signs, I think United are going to need a bit more time to bed in some players, and that midfield is always questionable with Ugarte there in the middle, forgetting whether it's football, 'cause sometimes he looks like it's the UFC. So we'll see.
You know
David?
what? I think it's a must-win game for Man United. I think they have to win that game because some of the fixtures they're going to have this season, they're not going to have a lot of opportunities to make up points. So I think it's a must-win game, and I think they played. I watched them against Arsenal against us, and they played well enough to win that game. So I don't see why they can't put in that performance. Apart from being away from home, I think if they can put in that performance against us, they'll beat Fulham. So I'm gonna go 2-1 to Man United. Yeah.
You're right, and I think I'm gonna join you in that one. I feel that United showed enough from the game against Arsenal that they can do bits, and I feel that they're not gonna be the same outfit which we saw last season. They will definitely open up their account. I don't see Fulham have enough to trouble them, but again, Fulham at home is still a tricky fixture. I feel that Manchester United have more firepower than Fulham, and I think that will get them over the line. I will see this as a 2-1 United. And then the last game finishing off is a Monday night clash. Newcastle
Ooh,
hosting
what a
Liverpool.
game!
Go on,
What a
Alex, lead the
game!
charge.
What a game!
Yes, I'll lead with this. I don't know what to think about this one. Now, I feel Gravenberch, it will be back, slot straight back into the team. Got the pun. Yeah, his suspension is over. I thought we definitely missed him against Bournemouth. We really looked vulnerable defensively. I think the boys will be defending much better and be a little bit more calmer against Newcastle. It's tough because I feel Newcastle have a point to prove, not just to the fans, but to Isak as well. It's like we can mix up with the big boys. So we're gonna go toe to toe with them. I feel with Isak being missing, it makes things slightly easier for Liverpool because Newcastle don't have that focal point. Will they go with another false nine performance with Anthony Gordon? He didn't do much against Villa, so to go against champions, it's going to be a lot of pressure. The midfield is going to be busy, so I thought there's going to be a big clash, and it's going to be a lot of physicality on who wins. Whoever wins that midfield, I think will win the game. I thought Liverpool have enough firepower to score a couple goals, which we always score against Newcastle, So it's going to be there's going to be goals in this game. I don't see Liverpool doing 0-0s. So I'm going with a 3-0 Liverpool. I have to be confident.
That's at
3-0 Liverpool.
Newcastle, yeah. That's at
That's
okay.
at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's St
Confident
James's
St
Park.
James Park.
Yeah. No, yeah, got confident. Have to be confident. Miguel, what do you reckon?
I think David hit the nail on the head right there, where St. James Park, and that's probably one of the away grounds that most teams do not look forward to going to. And I think that amplified, exacerbated by the whole situation between Liverpool and Newcastle. I think there is going to be a lot of hostility. It is going to turn into one of those games where cooler heads will prevail. So it really depends on that. Newcastle obviously don't have that focal point going forward, but they do have capable players. I don't see any of their forward players scoring per se, but I see someone like Bruno Guimaraes scoring like a screamer, just out the blue because he always excels in those really, conflict-driven environments. But I think the Salah factor is the one key thing. So I can definitely see Liverpool looking vulnerable defensively, conceding a goal at some point after you guys lead. But then someone like Salah or maybe Hugo Ekitike scoring a late goal to just kind of cement that win and really prove a point, and probably maybe a bit of hostilities between fans afterwards.
Yeah. I think the Newcastle players are going to be so hungry to kind of prove to Isaac, who the fuck are you? Like, you go into this club, we can beat this club. But all the players are going to have that in their mind. They're gonna have the mentality to win that game. I think the midfield is very close. I think Bruno, Tonali, and yeah, maybe not Joe Linton, but definitely Bruno, Tonali, Joe Linton is a three. I think yes, not better than Liverpool's midfield, but they're quite close. I think they're quite close in terms of quality. I'm gonna,
Generally, it's it's gonna be interesting.
yeah. I'm gonna go for a 3-2 win for Liverpool, but Salah will score in the last couple of minutes. Unfortunately, yeah. Um,
Alex, do you see Konate getting benched this game?
No,
who
for who?
exactly? Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
put on Leone, man.
For who?
No, he's
Nah,
not ready,
he's
man.
not.
Nah. He'll get
Not
he'll get shanked, man.
not
He'll
this
get
game.
shanked in that match if he comes that back.
Leone will play against he'll make his debut against like a
Yeah,
Burnley or
yeah.
Leeds or against one of the other guys, but against Newcastle, not
Gomez?
even. Yeah,
Nah,
no,
Gomez, he'll make their
no.
mistakes, man.
No. As long as Knight is fit, Knight will start. All right, so that is the wrap up of the positional weekends, and we're almost at the end of the show. But before we go, just would like to have a quick mention about the PFA Awards which happened last night. Now, looking at the team that was obviously voted by the players, what do you feel about that? Was there anybody there that shouldn't have been there, or is there anybody that should have been in that team? If you could take out one player and replace it with another player, who would that be?
You know what? I would. Yeah, I can't say because I think Chris Wood deserved it. Because when I look at these lists, it's not about who the best players are, like for talent, world-class players. It's more about obviously who performed the best
Who
last season.
performed?
And Chris
Yeah.
Wood, he did deserve to be there. But
Question. What's this nonsense about three centre backs?
they have to, don't they? They have to, don't they?
Yeah, I think there's no rule on the fact that you're filling each position with the player in that position. It's just a case of
The best player, yeah.
the defenders. Yeah, who got the most votes, and whoever got the most votes, they got put into that team. So
Okay.
that's basically what it
It's not
is.
like a
Yeah. So
formation that it has to be a right back, has to be a left
yeah.
back.
Yeah. It's just a three defense. It's just four defenders, four midfielders, and two strikers. So it was classic 4-4-2.
How about Newcastle finish what? They finish fifth place
Fifth.
and they're in Champions League. So they'll be,
Yeah.
I think there'll be an argument for one of their midfielders to get in. Bruno Tonali. I think
So
Tonali had a
okay.
really good season.
So
Tonali, to be fair.
okay. So you're gonna go with
No,
Tonali. So
if I were to input
if you were to
someone,
put,
yeah, it'll be one
yeah,
of the
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Newcastle
So that's what I'm
midfielders.
saying. Who would you then take out to put into Nali then?
I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
I know you're gonna I know you're gonna say it, bruv. Say it with your chest. Say it with your
Say it
chest.
with chest. You know what?
What's your opinion?
You know what? I would say Declan Rice deserved to have the season he had. He had a good season, you know. Um,
If you're not taking Declan Rice out, then say who you're gonna take out. Don't start going through.
I
We
already
ain't
know
got
who he's
time
gonna
here,
say, man.
bro.
I already know.
I know already. Just want to say it.
so we got
Say it with your
McAllister,
chest.
Declan Rice, Gravenberch. Who was the other one? Just three? Was it three? Was it?
Mm,
It was three. Was it?
Three
Three
midfielders.
midfielders. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of the three, I would say importance to the team. I would say. I would say
Damn it,
Why?
Davis.
Why?
if I were McAllister,
Jesus
McAllister.
Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
Finally,
If I
we
was to
got
take
it in the
someone
end.
out, but I think he deserved to be there. But if you ask me to replace, I would say McAllister. So Gnarly. Gnarly had a really good season. And it was
Miguel, what about you? No, Dave, we had enough of you now. We had it. Yeah. Go on.
I get why all the players are there. I think the only one I really have an issue with is probably Kirkis. Like, I know he had a good season by all means, but best even left back, let
yeah, Skelly,
alone
innit?
back
Skelly.
line. No,
Nah,
no, no.
that's
Look,
me.
look, look.
Sorry,
If
nah,
we
nah.
just talking about left backs, I think Cuckoo had a much better season than him. He was carrying at times Chelsea, whereas Kirkis was not the standout player for Bournemouth. There were many other players that got a lot more of the limelight. Good left back, but
He was just consistent throughout the
Hype, innit?
season.
Hype.
Got some assists, scored some wonderful goals. I feel like he on a real because Clive had a bit of a purple patch.
mm,
Everybody else had little spurts, but he was consistent throughout the season there. Hence why he got there and got his with the Liverpool. But okay, so if you're taking out Kirkis, who you gonna replace him
that's
with?
a Cuckoo already.
Cucurella,
Yeah,
yeah?
100%.
Okay, cool. So Cucurella. You know what? I'm gonna go. The midfield is kind of tough because I saw a few videos where people were talking about the team, and a few were mentioning Caicedo,
Mm.
and then it's like, okay, if you're gonna put in Caicedo, then who would you take out that team? I definitely would have kept Gravenberch. For me, it would be between Rice and McAllister to take out to put in Caicedo, but at the same time, I felt like maybe those two had better seasons than Caicedo. So then I thought, well, where would I go? And do you know what I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with the goalkeeper. Now, I know Matt Sells got the Golden Glove tied with Raya. I felt I feel that Raya was the better keeper, as in he made some brilliant saves in the season. I felt that Sells, yes, he did, but I think it was based on the fact that Murillo and Milenkovic were brilliant. Because if I'm being real, I can't remember any kind of like brilliant saves that Sells made. He may have, but there's nothing that stood out for me that I can remember, and I'd be like, oh, even one I can remember from Raya was against Aston Villa, where I think he tips it onto the crossbar and then he saves the rebound of
I think the
what's his name?
first match last season with Chelsea, Sells put in a great. Yeah, he turned up like he was ridiculous. Like he did at least
I understand. No,
four or
I'll go
five
there.
saves. Like I think I get where you're coming from, but if you say Milinkovic, Murillo in front of him, it's like, oh, they were putting in a shift. You got Gabriel and Saliba in front of Raja, and so it's. I think Sells. No one expected anything of him. He was signed for pennies from Strasbourg, and for him to come in and perform like that for a team that no one expected to be in the contention
and
for top four.
I think that's why he did. I think that's why he did get it because of
Yeah.
of that performance. Well, cool. All right. Well, thank you. I think that's it. That's enough for us. We've been able to have a look at the games from the weekend and also make some predictions for the week. PFA Team of the Year looks pretty solid. Salah won PFA Player of the Year. Morgan Rogers Young Player of the Year. Um, Again, Salah winning it 3 times is the record. So I think he's now solid now. He's solidified his place in Premier League Hall of Fame,
Mm.
I feel, by the time he finishes his career. But we will talk about that on another episode. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We want to create this community and support us and be able to, get some conversations going about how we feel about our teams and how the league is going to be looking. So yeah, if you want, fill in the comments, let us know what you felt. Worked well. I know there was a lot we didn't get to mention, things like VAR decisions and so forth. But yeah, there was a lot to unpack. So if there's anything that we thought we should cover or maybe cover another episode, mention it in the comments. But again, please share this podcast, like it, and we will see you in the next episode. Love.
Peace.